Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our lesson 5 on insects. Today, we're going to learn about another set of social insects, ants and termites. Now, let's do a quick review. Last lesson, we talked about two other social insects. Does anyone remember what they were? Franny, yes. That's right, wasp and bees. That's right. Well, today we're talking about ants and termites. But to begin, let's get our objective out of the way, okay? I want you to understand we're going to explain how ants and termites are social insects, just like wasps and bees were social insects. Our vocabulary. Aggressive. That means they're forceful and ready to attack. If anybody's ever seen red ants and they gather around their prey, they will sting you, and they come together as a force, and they work together and cooperate to attack. Chambers. Empty enclosed spaces or room. If you remember the wasp nest and the bee's hive, they had little individual chambers that were six-sided. That's what chambers are. Destructive. I know, I'm having some fun with my lamp, I see. Destructive. Causing a large amount of damage or harm. Because there's so many and they work together and they work as social insects, they can be very destructive, especially our friends, the termite. Emit, to send out or give off. They emit some skunks, they emit a smell. When we talked about skunks, they emit an odor when they get afraid. So things that are sent off and given off. Nurseries, places to breed and care for the young animals or plants. With our beehives and our wasp nests, the individual cells were used to nurse the young and to keep them hidden and safe and protected until they were old enough to come out. Well, this is what a nursery is like. All right, the end, boys and girls. Let's get started with our lesson today. Okay? We're going to start off with our trusted friend. Who in the room knows what I'm looking at, boys and girls? I know everybody saw the movie and they enjoyed the movie. And I know that that was a good thing. And that's right, boys and girls. We're looking at an ant. That's right. Mr. Gibson's got to get back into his computer. All right. Hi there, everybody. Because I am one of the most common insects on the planet, I am sure you know that I am what is it? That's right, boys and girls, ant. But did you realize how much my cousin and I look alike, the wasp? All right, boys and girls, look at that. Okay, look at that. If you look at them side by side, they look very much alike. Okay? See how slender or thin our waists are? Mine is unusually flexible, making it easy to bend and twist. Count my body parts. You'll see that I have 3. Remember what we talked about, boys and girls? Insects have 3 body parts, just like all insects. My head with its long antenna, my thorax, and of course, boys and girls, the abdomen. All right. You can point to the different parts on the animal: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. Same thing here. The head, the thorax, and right here on the wasp is the abdomen. All right, boys and girls. Here's something you might not know. I have two stomachs. Both are located in my abdomen, but one is for my own digestion, and the other, called the crop, is just a storage bin when I keep food for other ants. Okay? He's got two in his abdomen. The fact that I store food for other ants should tell you something about me. Ants are social insects. We raise and care for our young in ant colonies. There are many different kinds of ants with many different ways of life. All right, boys and girls. Let's start looking at some of the other types of ants. Let's start at the top here. There we go. All right. There are carpenter ants. Build their nests in the woods. There's leafcutter ants. They grow fungus on leaves. They cut in vast or very large underground gardens. The aggressive weaver ants. Now here we go. I want you to look at this from the top to the bottom. Here we go. We have carpenter ants here. We have our, of course, leaf cutter ants is right here. See how they cut the leaves right here, boys and girls? Good job. Then we have, I can't get the arrow there today. Here we go, boys and girls. There we go. All right. Now, the leafcutter ants, they grow fungus on leaves, and then they cut in vast and very large underground funguses. The aggressive weaver ant lives in leaves. They bind together in trees. Okay? The huge colonies of army ants, here we go, boys and girls. Huge colonies of army ants. And they travel in groups, eating everything in sight. Trap jaw ants, which is here. See that trap jaw right here, boys and girls? The trap jaw ant is distinct can jump. My fault, boys and girls. All right. The trap jaw ant can jump distances of more than 12 inches. That's as long as our rulers, boys and girls. If you look at our desk, we have our 12-inch rulers there. All right. Harvest ants build huge nest mounds where they store seeds. See, let's go up some, boys and girls. Here we go. Where they can store their seeds. These are harvest nest ants. All right. And beware of the red fire ants, because they will sting you. Do you see our little stinging red fire ants? These are the ones we spoke of earlier. Okay? Now, I am a black garden ant, the type that you may see most often. So, that is the kind of ant I'm going to tell you about today. Like many other ants, we live in underground tunnels or in passages like these, boys and girls. That's what they look like. That's what kind of passages they live in. That's their environment. As we've talked about before, the environment, okay? Bees have honeycombs. Paper wasps have paper nests. And we have tunnels, miles and miles of tunnels full of little chambers or rooms. Hundreds of very dark chambers. A colony may have as few as 12 ants, or as many as 1,000,000 or more ants. The center of an ant colony life is the nest or its tunnels. The center of an ant's life is the nest or its tunnels. All right, boys and girls. Here we go. An ant colony begins with the queen. Now, wait a minute, boys and girls. What other social creatures begin with a queen? That's right, boys and girls. The bee as well as the wasp. And something we should all know about the queen. What is she? That's right. She's larger than all the other bees as well as all the other wasps. The queen is the largest, and her job is to, that's right, make new bees or make new wasps. Well, let's see what that queen ant does. All right. An ant colony begins with a queen. A young queen is born in one colony but leaves that colony to start her own. Her wings carry her into the air to find a mate. Once she mates, she sheds her wings and immediately finds a nesting place to underground. She builds a chambers and seals herself inside to lay her eggs. Look at the wings on the ant. Mr. Gibson didn't even know that ants had ever had wings. So I'm really learning something right along with you guys today. Okay. Oh, when the ant larva hatch, the queen cares for the first brood herself, feeding them with her own saliva as they change from worm-like larvae into pupa and finally adults. The queen does not leave the nest this whole time, getting nutrition from her now useless wing muscles in order to survive. Okay? So after a while, she uses her useless wing muscles and she uses them for her own nutrition so that she can survive. Ants undergo a complete metamorphosis. Some animals go through an incomplete metamorphosis, and some animals go through a complete metamorphosis. Ants go through what, boys and girls? A complete metamorphosis. That's right, boys and girls. And what is a metamorphosis? That's right. It's a change. Okay? It's a change. What are the 4 stages of a complete metamorphosis, boys and girls? We know it. Let's do it together. Ready? Egg, larva, pupa, adult. Do it again. Egg, larva, pupa, that's right, pupa, and adult. Most of the eggs eventually develop into small female workers, ants, that begin their lifetime of hard work by gathering food for the queen, making sure she is well fed. The queen will never leave the nest again, living there for 10 or 12 or 20 years, perhaps even longer. As the mother of the colony, she has her own special chamber. Her only job from this point on is to lay eggs. All right, boys and girls. Isn't that pretty, boys and girls? Oh, yes. Ta-ta-da-da. The worker ants carry the eggs from the queen's chamber into nurseries, where they keep the eggs clean and moist by licking them until they hatch. Now, we've studied the hen, and the hen sits on her eggs until they hatch. The ants, they keep the eggs moist by licking them until they hatch. Okay? Then they carry the larvae into separate chambers to feed them. Black ants eat other insects, any crumbs that we can find, and the honeydew of aphids. There's honeydews from aphids. That's probably this part right here, boys and girls. All right? We chew the food up well and put it in a pouch in our mouths, where the liquid is squeezed out of it. We spit out the solid parts and swallow the liquid. Remember, we have 2 stomachs, one being a crop for storing food. So worker ants come back to the nest with the crops full of food for the young ants. Next, boys and girls. Isn't that something to look at? As they grow, the larva molts a few times. Remember what we talked about with molting, boys and girls? Molt is when the animal starts to shed its skin. That's right. Good answer. All right. A few weeks, they spin cocoons. The worker ants move these newly formed pupa into much drier chambers where they rest until they are ready to gnaw their way out into the world. Okay? Now remember, when the eggs hatch by the chicken has to pluck its way out of the egg. It has to fight its way out of the egg. Well, the black ants, they're young, they start the same way, by fighting their way out into the world. A social insect, ants cooperate in many ways. When these new workers emerge, some will help care for the queen and larva, and some will build and repair the tunnels, while others will guard the nest. These guards, oh, my bad, will guard the nest. Here's my lamp again. All right. That's a perfectly formed guard right there. All right. These guards, called soldier ants, have large heads and jaws. The jaws, the writing is going, and jaws. Then the other ants. Oh, my bad. I read that wrong, boys and girls. These guards, called soldier ants, have large heads and larger jaws than the other ants, and they place their bodies across the entrance to the nest to defend the colony. All ants, including soldier ants, emit or give off a chemical signal that other ants smell with their antennae. Soldier ants use these signals to warn the colony of danger. This is one way that the ants communicate to share information. Right. Another way ants communicate is through touch. There we go, boys and girls. If an ant is hungry, it taps a food gathering. It taps a food gathering. My fault. If an ant is hungry, it taps a food gathering lightly with its antenna to let it know that it would like to eat. It taps a food gatherer just lightly with its antenna, kind of like I'm going to touch this lamp, and it lets it know that it wants to eat. They exchange the food mouth to mouth in what looks like a little kiss. When food is shared, and the ants also share, and when the food is shared, the ants also share and pass along some chemical information important to the entire colony. If one of us ants gets trapped when the soil around us caves in, we produce a squeaky sound by rubbing joints together, and other ants hear the cry for help through their legs. They hear it through their legs. All right, boys and girls, you're learning a lot today. We're learning a lot. Here we go. Before I leave, though, I want to introduce you to another social insect that some people mistakenly call white ants. Do you think these look like ants? They're not. They are termites. Okay? Termites are more closely related to cockroaches, and yet they do not have hard exoskeletons. What did I say the exoskeleton was, boys and girls? The exoskeleton is, that's right, the hard shell that is on the outside of some of the insects. Okay, on insects. They are soft-bodied and nearly blind. They would not survive as solitary insects on their own, but they are very successful as social insects. There are several differences between termites and other social insects you have learned about. You learned about the honeybees, that's right. You learned about paper wasps, that's right. You've learned about ants, yes. Now we're learning about termites. Termites do not go through many of the stages of development. They skip the pupa stage. So their metamorphosis is incomplete. That's right, boys and girls. A termite's metamorphosis is incomplete. Of course, the ant's metamorphosis is complete. All right, boys and girls. at the termites. Okay. Termite society is a bit different as well. Both a king and a queen rule termites colonies. They start a colony together. The queen is most important member of the colony, sometimes laying 6 or 7 thousand eggs a day. She is well protected by the countless numbers of worker termites that is almost impossible to find her within the colony. Just in case something should happen to the royal couple, termite colonies include substitute kings and queens as well. All right. Well, look at this. Termite workers perform jobs similar to worker ant jobs, but the job of guarding the colony rests with a small number of soldiers equipped with strong legs and long, powerful jaws. Unlike honeybees, paper wasps, and ants, where all the workers are female, in termite colonies, both male and female workers are important members of the society. All right, boys and girls. Termites' favorite food is wood. They can be very destructive. All right, we talked about that as one of our vocabulary words earlier. Destructive. All right. If they choose to eat through the walls of a house, depending on where they live, some termite species eat insects, waste materials, and fungus. They build their own temperature-controlled nests underground, inside fallen trees, in timber, and in tree branches. Okay, here we go. Look at that. Look at that, boys and girls. Does this nest look like it's a wasp nest? I think so. Let's look at it. Let's see. That looks like a little nice wasp nest, don't it? Yes. It's made of chewed wood and saliva, like a wasp nest, but with added mud and soil. Some termites build mounds above ground to house their colonies. Look at this. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's bigger than a person. Wow. That's serious work right there. Okay. Look at this termite colony. Okay. These towering mud structures are hard as rock, and some are as tall as two-story houses. Lots of teamwork goes into building these mounds with incredible air conditioning systems to keep the chambers cool in very hot climates. All right, boys and girls. Next time, boys and girls, you'll hear from an insect that glows in the dark. Until then, be thinking about who that might be. You boys and girls got any idea who we might be talking about next time? Huh? Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell you who it is. All right. I have a couple of questions for you boys and girls. All right. And then our lesson will be finished for today. All right. Janie, I want to ask you one question. Do termites have complete or incomplete metamorphosis? Do termites have complete or incomplete metamorphosis? You're thinking about it, huh, Janie? Good answer, Janie. Incomplete metamorphosis. Great job. Bill, I'd like to ask you, what is the main difference between termites and ants when they're starting their colony? That's right, Bill. Ants start their colony with just a queen by herself. But termites, they start their colony with a king and a queen working together. Okay, boys and girls, I hope you've enjoyed our lesson today. I want you to think seriously about who we're going to be talking with next time. All right, boys and girls, until next time, have a beautiful, beautiful night. Thank you, class.